Because I'm a veteran?
No, we just need to get a flag.
Where's your flag?
We have a whole flag somewhere. They cleaned up, they probably took flag everything out of here.
There we
I
go.
never asked her, are you veteran?
No,
You know, I never asked you.
I was in grad school during the Vietnam War.
We used to have one in here, no.
Let me go ahead and call this meeting to the Governance Committee at 9:05. Dr. Mason will lead us in a pledge. Right behind you.
All over there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me go ahead and take roll who's present on the Governance Committee. Dr. Joseph May, Superintendent of Lewis County is here. Dr. Simmons, who is the President of the Montgomery County Board of Education. Chuck Heinlein, Deputy Superintendent, State Department. And Beth Burkhart, Board Member from Lewis County Board of Education.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Since I am president of an intervened county and we have no authority over personnel matters, as a member of this board, does that in any way influence my ability to act as a board member on the inter-county board?
As far as I'm concerned, no. I don't have anybody have any objections. Him talking personnel with us. Chuck, do you have any objections?
I think too, I have a question about the heading on the agenda as a regular meeting. As I understand it, this is the first meeting of the Inter-County Governance Board.
Okay. We're gonna discuss that here in a minute with the concerns. You wanna do it now?
Well,
What?
you know, I just think there's been some confusion, and I have discussed even this morning with some legislators. They want a clear delineation between the advisory committee, which we have met, and the actual governance board, which this is our first meeting. And so, you know, in order to clarify that, you know, for us and for them, I think we need to make sure that we are not the advisory committee, and the advisory committee is not the governing board.
Correct. The governance board is the ones that's really going to be making decisions at the school, along with input I think we can get from the advisory committee. What I'd like to do at this time really is when we had the advisory committee, I was elected chairperson and Dr. Mace was elected vice chair. What I'd like to just open it up with the chairperson. How do you want to do it? Do you want to keep status quo for the governance committee with the chairperson and vice chair, or do you want to re-elect a chairperson and vice chair? What's the pleasure of the governance board?
Well, I'm okay with it.
I was in Florida. My son got back from Afghanistan. I was in Florida when they had the first meeting, and I saw the minutes, and I was elected the co-chair. I am retiring, so I am removing myself from any nomination for chair or vice chair because I'm going to be retired, and it wouldn't serve any purpose for me to hold a quote position knowing that I'll be retired in a few months. So Gabe, I just want to say that for the record. So I guess I've done two things. I announced my retirement just now, and which was announced by one of my board members at a recent board before I knew I'd retired. So with that said, we can go forward.
We can continue with the chairperson, vice chairman until you do retire, and then we can revisit that and elect chair and vice chair as a,
But I would decline anything in towards me in any way would be declined because of what I just said, Kate, so.
okay.
Just for the record, to make everything clear, that's the reason, that's the way it has to be with me. Everybody okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm fine with
Chuck,
this.
we all right?
I move that the current governing board, chairman and vice chairman remain in place, for the, remainder of this current, school year, upon which time, the, superintendent from Lewis County will be, replaced as well as the deputy superintendent. So if, that motion would be, accepted, by the, governing board, and a vote taken, I'd appreciate it, Jay.
I'll second that motion, check.
All right, we have a motion made,
Seconded.
seconded by Dr. Mace. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it. One other thing I want to do is a report. We did have a bill that several people really worked hard to get through to the legislatures. It just passed the Senate yesterday and going to the governors, which would have an effect on employees from Gilmer County. In essence, the bill will say that any our teachers or service personnel that go to the new Leading Creek, if there is a RIF or transfer in Lewis County, that they would have the right to bump back into our county if they need so. If they leave voluntary Leading Creek, then the seniority and everything from Gilmer County and the right to bump back into our county no longer is intact. Okay, we will be meeting with our staff in the next couple weeks to talk to them on that. Now it brings us down into personnel. Getting information from Lewis County and information from our thing. Some of the projected enrollments that that we have for Leading Creek and Allen Bridge. We need to make some decisions. Right now, I understand that a third grade teacher's gonna retire, a fourth grade teacher's retiring, and a Title I teacher's retiring in Allen Bridge. Those positions, and both counties agreed that those positions will come to our employees at Troy. What we have to look at right now is the numbers, and the pre-K numbers are not in, but if we go on what we need to have for pre-K, it looks like, in working with some people from Lewis County too, they have inputted into this as just as well as we do. The pre-K, K, first and second looks like there should be 2 teachers in each one of those grades. The other ones are really close on the border either way. So how this committee wants to proceed, that way you already have 1 teacher from Allen Bridge that's in pre-K, 1 teacher from Allen Bridge that's in kindergarten, 1 in first grade and 1 in second grade. Those positions will be to Allen Bridge teachers, but if we add additional employees to the kindergarten, preschool, first grade, second grade, those positions will come out of the Troy, or anybody that's affected from the Troy RIFs and transfers would come from out of Troy. Also, Allen Bridge does not have a 5th and 6th grade, so those teachers would have first choice out of Troy for the 5th and 6th grade, or who's affected from all that. Once all this comes down, if there's any positions left over, then Lewis County would post those positions, and then we would fill in from either county who wants to apply for those positions. But Troy's teachers would have the first options at the new positions that are going to be created in Leading Creek School. Does anybody on the governance committee have any questions, concerns, or information? Do you want to go ahead and add a pre-K, kindergarten, first and second grade position at Troy, at Leading Creek? With the numbers, are we okay?
Numbers look fine to me, Gabe.
Okay, is there a motion that I could have to go ahead and add those positions to Leading Creek?
So moved.
Dr. Simmons made the motion, is there a second?
I will second that motion. Could you please clarify that motion? Could you restate it so that I can document it? What's the motion on the floor?
The motion is that we add an extra teacher position in pre-K, kindergarten, first and second at the new Leading Creek School. And Troy teachers will have first options on those,
Preschool, kindergarten, and second grade,
first grade.
and first.
Preschool, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Any other questions?
Is there discussion on that motion?
Yes, right now.
Well, you know,
Go
I
over
think,
your numbers one more time, Gabe.
Your preschool right now is tentative. They have 14, we have 16, and we're looking, being right around the same next year from over there. You have a total in kindergarten right now 30. You have first grade, you have 21, or 31, I'm sorry. The second grade, you're gonna have 26 right now.
How many teachers does that leave that would not have work
If
from either county?
if we continue right now, really to be honest with you, if you add 4 positions by those there, the third and fourth grade retiring, so that's 6 positions there, and then if we add the fifth and sixth from Troy, 6, 7, 8 positions can come from Troy right now into those grades. So there'll be 8
So how many
teachers.
Okay.
There'll be 8 teachers at Troy that'll have the option to go over.
If all 8 went, how many would be left that would be either a reduction in force or would transfer into another position in the county by seniority?
Probably, if all 8 go, we would probably bring everybody back that's there, that's on the RIF list now. That would help us out big time, if all those go. And I think even if a couple do not go, that'll still help us out.
well, you know, I think this is important because, you know, in our initial discussions about the inter-county school, one of the things that will make for most success is to be as fair and equitable as possible. And I think whatever decisions we made, we need to keep that in mind. And I think that's what, you know, the folks who helped us draft the legislation have in mind. And I think we have to honor that, not only for those folks, but for the teachers involved. Because, you know, there was a lot of misinformation out here about what was happening. And I think we're beginning to narrow down to deal with reality. But I think that we just have to show folks that we're trying to be very fair and equitable to both counties. And I think this is a step in that direction.
And you know, I completely agree with you, and the thing that I have always said with this school, you know, for us, and I can speak for a lot of the Lewis County board members as well as I think our staff, we're excited about this opportunity. We don't look at this as just a Lewis Gilmer thing. This is West Virginia students. This is West Virginia at work at its best, where we cross those boundaries. And these numbers play a big factor in how well we encourage and support and make a positive thing of what Leading Creek's going to be. This is a brand new school. Brand new school. I would love for staff to be excited and students to be excited about going here, regardless of what county they come from.
Well, it's an example for the future, because I think most of our policymakers are aware that populations are shifting in the state, the dynamics changing, and economics play a big factor, and the fact is that the future will see a lot of inter-county and multi-county schools, just out of necessity. And so this one is expected to work, and we can make it work. And I think that, you know, the state, it's a lot more than a school between Gilmer and Lewis County. It becomes a model for the state for the future, and I'm excited about it. I think, golly, if I had a child could go to that brand new school at Lynn, I would be excited about it.
I agree.
I think the biggest question is, if there is confusion out into the communities, they need to pick up the phone and call
I
either
agree.
Lewis County Board of Education or Gilmer County Board of Education to verify that, because rumors are out there that some of them are not correct and true, and we need to help the citizens make the right decisions.
Well, I think our meeting on the 26th at Troy will help, because not only is there misinformation here locally, but I picked it up in the Capitol in Charleston too. You know, there just is a lot of misconception out here about this school, and I think, you know, you can never do enough communication to clarify all matters, but I think we need to try, and I think what you're doing here with placing teachers, see, the word's out there that all of the Allen Bridge teachers are placed and all the Troy teachers are rifted.
Right.
Well, for those who don't know, they say, well, this is not fair that all of our people lose jobs and all the people in Lewis County are placed. So, you know, again, we know that isn't true, but we need to be able to demonstrate that we've done all we can to see that the decisions are fair and equitable. And I think this is the step in the right direction.
I'm very excited to know that, you know, and I hope when you say that they have the option, I hope that they'll be excited about moving into the school also.
How we're gonna do this, so the governance committee is, we're gonna meet with the Troy staff, and the gentleman that helped draft the policy for us, the attorney, he's gonna be there with us. And we're gonna list the positions, once the motion passes, and we go to the other positions. And then we're gonna take the most senior person and say, you wanna go to the new elementary school, which one do you wanna go, yay or nay? And then they'll have their pick where they wanna go. So the teachers at Troy are gonna have first come, first served over the positions they want by seniority. And if they don't wanna go, then we'll know, and they'll make a decision then. Once we get all that down, then we probably need to meet as a county again and say, okay, these are the positions that you need to post that neither Allen Bridge teachers or Troy teachers wanna go. So that's,
We, for the record, had no rifts at Allen Bridge. We, with advice of council, Jason Long, Dinsmore and Scholl, we gave letters of transfer to all the employees at Allen Bridge to protect them. And that by giving a letter of transfer, they were assured of their jobs, and they've been told that they would come to this new school. So we work with our council in that regard to give letters of transfer to all employees at Allen Bridge School. And the fifth and the sixth grade, as it's known that our grade configuration in Lewis County, our board modified the new school to include fifth and sixth grade to align with Troy and Gilmer County's configuration for fifth and sixth. So the fifth and sixth grade classrooms at this school only in Lewis County have board approval for the fifth and sixth grade at the new Leading Creek School.
any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of giving another pre-K, K, first grade, second grade teachers positions at Leading Creek?
I
Beth
second
did.
that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Okay. Your third grade, fourth grade positions, there's retirement positions there. So we'll ask the Troy teachers if anybody wants to go to third and fourth grade. And since Lewis County's configuration doesn't include the fifth and sixth grade, we'll ask the fifth and sixth grade teachers at Troy if they want to go over. Do we need to put that into a motion, or we just take it as this is the way it's going to be since there's retirements and you don't have the figure? Just accept it that way? Okay. So that'll give them, with the Title I teacher, about 8 positions if anybody wants to go. And if Troy's teachers, some decline not to go, and then, we'll get with Lewis County can post the positions, and then we'll go from there. And then our teachers from within the county can apply just as well as Lewis County's teachers can.
Mr. Devon, that, what we're doing right now appears to be very fair and equitable with the Troy people and the Allen Bridge people. And that was, as Dr. Simmons said, that was our intent from the beginning, to not cost employee jobs or any kind of hardship, but to be positive in regard to personnel in both schools and offer them every opportunity to continue employment at this new school. So I think that's a very positive thing that's just happened here today.
And really to give credit to our 2 delegates, Delegate Boggs and Delegate Hanshaw, for getting this legislation passed, which puts our teachers at ease that if they did happen somewhere along the line get ripped or transfers out of the Leading Creek, that they have the right to butt back into our county. Even though they're going to go to Lewis County and they'll end up with 0 years experience, they still will have the experience here as seniority within our county, accruing the seniority as they do in Lewis County. So everything looks in a positive way for all of our staff and everything of that nature right now.
Positive, Mr. Devon, a positive comment. As parents are proud of their children, my first year in teaching was in Braxton County at Gasaway, and in my class, Brent Boggs was an A student, and I'd have to say, as a superintendent, what he's done in the state of West Virginia, in the legislature, I wouldn't think anything else of him but to help school systems. Brent was a fine student, and he's just a really good person. And the guy beside him, Mike Chapman, became president of Braxton County Board 2. I saw Mike the other day at a meeting. So my first year, I was fortunate, and I had some of the greatest kids in the world in Braxton County, and I was fortunate to be able to teach them, and at least a little math. But I'm proud of Brent Boggs, and I want to make that comment of everything he's done for our state. So, thank you.
Well, I taught him freshman English.
And-
You're wrong there.
And Cleveland State College?
Yeah.
I think that you were my teacher too, Glenn Boyd.
Well,
We'll move right along
Moving
now.
right
We'll talk after the
I'm
meeting.
proud of all of my former students, and some that I didn't teach that I knew about. And I think every once in a while, when you think everything's going to hell in education, I think every once in a while, you know, what we were put there to do, the evidence is out there with our former students and their success. So we did our job, and I think that's all we can do. And I think there's some good people in our state, and they want to do the right things for education. And I think, you know, we probably need to come together in a little better fashion and hammer out some new standards for public education and accountability, and come to some general agreements on what we want to do for students. We can do this with this one school. We manage this school. We can make that school a model for the state of West Virginia. Not every student's going to be an A student, but we need to help every student find the best that he can do. And I think that's a formula that works. It has worked and it will work. And you know, I think that our young people today really need a lot of help. And education is one of the best tools that they can get. So, Joe, I share, we've all had some good experiences, and we've had some disappointments.
Now, let's move over to the service personnel, since we got the professionals done. My understanding is the secretary from Allen Bridge is gonna go over, one cook's gonna go over, and one custodian's gonna go over. Is one secretary efficient? One cook, I think, was not probably with the numbers efficient. You'll probably have to add another cook and one custodian for that building. How do you want to proceed in that?
Well, with schools with the overall enrollment, this school will have, how many secretaries generally are assigned to a school that size? Would it be one or two, or?
Right now, we have Glenville Elementary with one secretary for about 180 kids. We have 2 cooks over there and 1 custodian at Glenville. That could be almost be comparable to that.
The secretary, that would be a decision we'd make, may need to increase the days at that school beyond a 200 or 205. Custodian, I think definitely will need 2 custodians. I know it's a new school, but that school's gonna be a model school. People are gonna be visiting the school and it needs to be clean and, public worthy all the time. On cooks, the number of meals served, there's a formula, and Gabe, I agree 100%, 2 cooks there. So the only difference would be, right now would be 2 custodians. And for the reason I gave, that would be upon us, but that school has to be immaculate. The first years of operation, because we're gonna get people from all over. I remember Mark, one thing he said at Mansion, he said, you know, this school's gonna be a show place for the whole state. I feel very good with 2 custodians there, so I don't think that'll be any problem to us, Dave.
So that's a motion that we'll keep one secretary, we'll add another custodian position, another cook position, which Troy's cook and custodian will have first option. If they do not, then we'll have Lewis County posted.
That's a
What's
motion.
That's a motion, and I
Discussion
have,
on that motion?
wait a minute, I haven't got a second.
What's the displacement for Gilmore County service personnel then that will not be moving to Leading Creek?
Wait a minute, I haven't got a second yet.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now I got a second. Now, any discussion? Okay, Chuck.
So what's the displacement of any service personnel in Gilmore County that would not be able to go to Leading Creek? A secretary and a cook and a custodian are at Troy?
Yeah, the only one that would not be able to go over there right now would be a secretary. They'll keep one secretary, there'll be, one of our custodian will have the option to go, and our cook will have the option to go.
So will your secretary then, what will be her position then?
She will bump back into first year secretary that, within our county. She'll have a position.
Is she on transfer? Chuck, she's on transfer. I did not discuss the secretary situation with my board. I know from a cook standpoint, on meal served, we'd have 2 cooks. I personally feel that our board would have no problem with 2 custodians. The secretary, having 2 secretaries has not been an item of discussion in Lewis County schools. So, there's a little reservation there, and since I made the motion, I guess, that person is protected and will have a job, is on transfer, so it won't cost a job. I don't know how to approach that, since I'm the one that probably should have discussed this with my board in regard to having 2 secretaries at that school. I have not done that. So, being on transfer, is there a way that if our board decided that we needed 2 secretaries, and at least given the option in discussion, that the person on transfer could go to the new school, Gabe? Is there a way that we could work together on that?
She could have the option to go there, but,
Are you in
I don't
agreement
know.
with
Yeah.
that option?
yeah, I don't know how your other schools roll with one having 1 secretary or 2 secretaries. That would be the thing that you guys would have to look at.
We've gone 2 at the high school, we've gone 2 at the middle school, we've gone 2 at Peterson. I mean, our bigger schools, we've gone 2 at Jane Lou since you've been there. We've gone from 1 to 2 in all those schools, and this school would be bigger than Roanoke, where there's 1 secretary, and we currently have 1. So that's why I think we need to discuss that, Gabe, with the board, and I'd like to have board consensus the direction we go, because You know, I'm not an island myself. I have 5 board members that need to join in that decision, I feel. And I wanna do that with my board.
Why don't you talk to your board, then we'll talk,
Okay.
because if we're gonna make a position, if she doesn't wanna go over there, then we put a
Yes.
position, so we'll have to talk with
You
that.
understand where I'm coming
Right.
from, and
I understand.
we've leaned to go to 2 in every school, but the 2 smallest, and Allen Bridge happens to be one, and I certainly don't have enough kids at Roanoke, but that, by doubling the population, my board may want to have 2 secretaries, and if they want that option, I think that that's a decision that as superintendent, I should share with my board in regard to that. And I think we have the opportunity to do that with the agreement you and I just.
Okay.
Well, as your board member, I would appreciate that discussion, just for the simple fact that one of the reasons that we looked at secretaries is that's our front line of defense in those schools. When people come in, then we want that office occupied with a staff member. We want accountability when the public comes in. We want to know we are monitoring who goes in those schools. So, I do feel that would be a very beneficial conversation, discussion for us as a board to have, since those are decisions we made in our other schools.
Well, with all the security concerns
Yes.
that we have in all schools
Safety.
now, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. There's a motion and seconded,
I have a question, Gabe. Do you need to have that motion withdrawn and amended according to, Dr. Mace and his board president discussion on the secretarial positions?
no, we can come back and revisit the secretary position once they decide what they're gonna do. What the motion really was, add a custodian and a cook over there.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries. All right. The other personnel I wanna look at is, since we're at another pre-K, another kindergarten, is aide positions over there. We have 2 aides that are at Troy. Both of them are ECAT certified, which I hate to lose to them, but that's what, just tease it. I just wanted to get a reaction from Beth there.
Them?
But,
Them.
Not one of them?
so if have a motion that we also have our aides at Troy have first option if they wanna go over there. If not, then they would post the positions in Lewis County for the aide positions at Leading Creek and kindergarten and pre-kindergarten. Have a motion,
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Gabe?
motion and second for any discussions.
Yes, I have a question, Gabe. What about, the, aides that are coming from Allen Creek?
Well, we add a kindergarten and pre-K teacher, so we have to add 2 aides.
Okay, so Allen Creek's not being penalized, nor is Troy, correct?
Right, Allen Bridge has both
Allen Bridge.
aides going with them, a preschool aide and a kindergarten. So actually, you're gonna have two pre-K, 2 kindergarten, and you're gonna have 2 aides in pre-K, 2 aides in kindergarten.
Okay, as long as nobody's being punished.
No. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Aye.
likewise. Motion carries. Any other positions that maybe I forgot or missed? We have a principal. Let me verify something too. When we did interview the principal, and then we did vote on who the principal was gonna be, the governance committee was there, all 5 of us there, and we all voted in affirmative for that principal to take that position, and Lewis County Board of Education approved our recommendation. Once I received who's gonna go to Troy, teachers that are going to Lady Creek, I'll make a list and send it to Superintendent Dr. Mace, and then he'll bring it in front of the Lewis County Board of Education for approval. Also, the Title I position is open. Is the consensus of the board that the Title I position at Ellenbridge will have first option with a person from Troy if they want to go. If not, then we'll post a position. Is that the consensus of the board to go ahead and do that with the Title I like we're going to do the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade?
Notation in the minutes gave consensus is there. My chapter 1, my Title I teacher is retiring, and we've been advised by council to hold that position open for what we're just doing today. So Chuck, Robin James retired, and so that position is open, and there's no problem at all with what Mr. Duano just said.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
One thing I want to really appreciate too, and it's nice, the council that's for Lewis County is the same council that we're using in Yolmer County, so there has been a real good communication by all three aspects on that. A question on special ed and itinerant art and music. You all at Ellenbridge, the art and music and itinerant's going to go over from Ellenbridge, so we're okay with the art and the special ed teacher from Ellenbridge also will be going over. Okay.
The answer to that is yes. There's a head nod.
Thank you.
It's yes.
Thank you. Any other questions on personnel? Anything we got?
Gabe, would it help, I hate to be technical on everything, but would it help if this governing board reaffirmed the advisory committee's recommendation on the Lewis County Board on the employment principle?
We can do that if you want to. Chuck, what do you think? That we just go ahead and take another vote for the principal so that we can't, we have it clean?
I would agree with Dr. Simmons that would probably be a good thing to do.
There it goes, you might not be hired.
Well, I would move that we reaffirm the advisory committee's recommendation on the employment of Kim Freeman as to the Lewis County Board of Education as principal of the New Liberty Creek School.
Dr. Mace seconded. We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Kim, you're rehired again. Anything else on personnel? I think the finances, everything is in code, how we do the finances. I don't think we have a problem there. Curriculum, I think right now, Common Core is on hold, I think in the Senate. I don't think they're gonna do anything with Common Core, so we do have some curriculum stuff there. Facilities, it will be, the completion date is June. It'll be turned over to Lewis County and Yolmer County. Okay, then we'll have it,
We already received as the money, electric and water bill. So we have water and electric.
We'll make sure we get that. Before we're open.
My business manager made sure I knew that this week. Thank you.
one thing I wanna go back, we have some minutes that we have, how we end up getting the, new, law passed and everything came out of that meeting that we had correct before November. If I can have a motion to approve the minutes that we have and a second.
Now, those are
Well, that's
minutes,
November 21.
those are minutes of the advisory committee. I'm not sure we as a governing board need to approve those minutes.
We can, but I don't know if we can take those as recommendations. Do you wanna approve them or not? It came, Chuck, this is the one that we had at, when we were at the Lewis County where we had all those motions and seconds and really ended up working with, the attorneys and all of us to come up with that new law that's just passed to protect Lewis County, or Gilmer County teachers.
And that served as your advisory council, not your governor's board, so you probably don't need to approve those
Okay,
minutes.
all right. Thank you, Dr. appreciate that. Okay. The proposed legislatures, which I just talked to you a little bit about, it just passed, it was in final reading yesterday, it's on its way to the governors. More or less, it just says, again, I'll reaffirm that if any of our teachers from Troy go over to the Leading Creek, that they accumulate seniority in both Lewis County and Gilmer County. The question was, they will start out with 0 years experience in seniority in Lewis County, but if any rifts or transfers occur that one of our teachers that go over there is affected, they'll have the right to bump back into Gilmer County unless they accept the rift transfer from Lewis County. If they leave voluntarily the Leading Creek, they do not have, they stop their seniority in Gilmer County, and this bill does not affect them once they leave voluntarily. Okay, any questions on that or anything? It really will protect Gilmer County teachers now and service personnel that go to Leading Creek. That was one of our concerns.
And I know this doesn't affect, it, you know, like you said, it's to protect Gilmer County, but I'm so pleased to know that our voices are heard and that legislatures work together for that. You know, that's how come, again, I keep saying, you know, it's not a shame we come up with a name, but this is West Virginia School. This just pleases me so much to know that we're making so many strides in a uniform and unity within this whole progress and program that we're putting together here. It's just so, it's exciting.
Well,
It
you know,
restores faith in our legislature.
When I taught Appalachian culture, one of the things I always pointed out, there are certain ridges in Appalachia that people don't want to cross. And you know, a lot of it's illogical, but I think you can do with economics what you can't do with politics. And I think economics will begin to drive a lot of change. It just has to. And I think it's a wonderful thing, and I hope we can stand up there in front of that school and be proud of what's there. It has not been easy.
It really, I think we really need to let people know that this governance committee just doesn't stop once the school starts. This governance committee will be in effect for at least 5 years by the legislatures, and then after 5 years, we can vote to go continue. A lot of the decisions that will be made at Leading Creek will be made by this governance committee, which is both counties together will make it. And then the recommendation does go to Lewis County board for approval and stuff. And I don't see any problem with Lewis County objecting anything from what this governance committee comes up with.
One other positive note there, Jim, our principal at Leading Creek, made a recent visit to Downbridge School, and it was a day when the parents were going to be there for an event, and she was well received, and we had a staff meeting most recently, and all the comments from that entire staff at Downbridge were positive in regard to our new principal. So she's already taken steps and has been accepted by the staff and parents and people to be the new principal of the first ever combined school in West Virginia. And I think that's a very, very positive thing on her behalf to visit the school, visit the staff and the people and the kids, and so my compliments to you.
Thank you.
And I think I also want to add one other thing. I think you're going to be an excellent choice for us for that new school, and I think that's going to be key to the success of the school. And I think it's noteworthy too that you are a Gilmer County resident, and going to be the first principal at the new school and be a Gilmer County resident and parent. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gabe,
Yes.
I'm just thinking along what Dr. Mace just spoke about, thinking into June, and I know this is only March, but I'm wondering if the school will be, its punch list will be completed so that if students are still in school, that they could have the opportunity and the staff to go to the school for a part of a day just to get acclimated
that step. We are in full discussion in regard to whether we take a bus and take the entire staff. I talked to the clerk of the works, Rob Wall, and our next construction meeting, I want to make sure that Bo is okay. Chuck, they're working 410s there, and with the exception of a few electricians, Fridays will be great. So we may drive from Allen Bridge. My first thing was to take a school bus, so everybody is at the same point, same place, and we all stay together, and we're gonna take a tour, because the people were chomping at the bit to see all the colors out there and see the school. So we've done that. We're right now at the last step, and that is whether they're gonna drive or we take a school bus. Now that's in regard to the whole staff going out to see the school. The open house, we're in the phase of discussion there. My outgoing facility person laid a 3-page report on how to hold open houses in new schools in West Virginia on my desk, and I've read it 4 times, and I think I've got it down pretty good. The children, we haven't taken any steps at all in regard to busing those kids out. We cannot do that until the punch list is complete, fire marshal's complete, everything safety-wise is covered, but that's a point well taken. We can take those kids that are current enrollees at Allen Bridge and do a tour, but that's gonna come as soon as we know that everything is cleared with all the agencies in regard to the opening of the school to public, because the kids are public and we have to be careful there, as you know. But we're gonna do that, and I appreciate the reminder. The staff going out is a definite. It'll be on Friday, a nice weather day, and we're gonna do everything working along with city construction. And we're gonna bring that up the next meeting with Bo to make sure, because he's a contractor, in regard to his blessings for doing that the right way and any suggestions that he might have when we meet at Leading Creek. So we're on the path to doing that, sir.
Chuck, we also looked at our board, having our board go out and look at that, but with the rain and the mud, and we looked at the last construction meeting, and it's still got a lot of stuff in the hallways and stuff, so we were waiting until they get it all cleaned up and get it ready. But when we meet with our staff and with our parents in March, in a couple weeks, we will also inform them that there will be an open house, and we'll just wait and see when we can coordinate with Lewis County to have an open house for our parents.
Yeah, the public.
That sounds great. And the only reason I mentioned that, guys, is because, and ladies, because having opened a consolidation at one point in time, I know how important it was for everyone to be able to go see what it was going to be like, and actually have the opportunity to have our kids come in and get to see what their new school would be like. So I know how important it is. Gabe, while I got the floor for just a minute, if I may, you know, I'd like to congratulate both Dr. Mason, yourself, your board presidents and members for the work you guys have done collaboratively on this new school. One that is, as Dr. Mason just recently said, one of the first real inter-county school in West Virginia. Certainly we have another inter-county school, but it was not under shared governance like this. It's amazing what you guys have accomplished. At the same time, I'd like to thank Dr. Simmons particularly for living in Charleston there for a couple weeks and hustling that bill as much as you did, Bill. You did a nice job on that, and I appreciate all the support you gave to that legislation. And Gabe, I know you were here as well, doing the same. Guys, I'm going to tell you, you've got a historic opportunity to make something great for West Virginia kids, as the board member from Lewis County said. It's a West Virginia school, and I'm so proud of the work you all have done and the collaboration you've shown. And as Joe and I exit our career here in June, we'll be able to look back and say that we had an opportunity to be a small part of that.
Well, Chuck, I want to thank you for your encouragement and your support along the way.
Thank you, Bill.
I also would say the biggest compliment I can pay anyone in West Virginia in my mind is to say you're good people. And so with that, I told you that before and I wanna say it again, Chuck, you're good people. And that is not an English comment.
Be
It's,
careful.
it's an Appalachian comment from me, so.
I understand that better, Jed. I thank you very much.
Dr. Simmons had his red pen out, I didn't know what he meant by that.
I could go back and change your grade.
Well, it wouldn't matter, I didn't graduate with honors until grad school. And I did make the dean's list though, after I got out of service and came back, I knew more what education was about and what it was for, I made the dean's list every time.
Do we have any delegations? Okay, no delegations. And any other business brought before this committee before we adjourn? Okay, might I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Motion was made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
You never give me motions, you just couldn't wait.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
What I'm gonna do, what I'm